husband is too much. See her go, you know the shame. Sexy husband is too much. I don't care if you marry taxi driver. I don't care
If you marry a taxi driver,
I don't care if you marry taxi driver. I don't care
if you marry a taxi driver,
I don't care if you marry taxi.
I hope you are warming up, because the food for thought I'm going to serve you here today is going to be very serious. So just keep warming up. We're almost there.
Kaikene, Fred Wanko, Ezudo, Ezenwafosi Ajalebia, Publisher, African Lifestyle Magazine, Chicago.
Hello, everybody. Once again, this is Fred Wanko coming to you from our studios in Chicago with another edition of Bold Talk on LNTV. And as usual, I'd like to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, depending on where you are around the world. Now, in the section that follows, you're going to listen to a reading from excerpts from a book by Thomas Sowell. Thomas Sowell is one of America's leading anthropologists and social scientists and writers. And his books, his works have been used by so many research projects to see the damage that stereotypes and xenophobia causes around the world through history, not even just recently. And as I listened to those things, it brought me back to the xenophobic issues that we had in Lagos following the last election that was rigged by Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And I just want you to calm down for 1 second, ignore your stereotypes, open up your minds, listen attentively to the story from this book, and try to think about how it's affecting us in Nigeria when it shouldn't be.
At the heart of the affirmative action approach is the notion that statistical disparities show discrimination. No dogma has taken a deeper hold with less evidence, or in the face of more massive evidence to the contrary. A recent story in the Wall Street Journal revealed that more than 4/5 of all the donut shops in California are owned by Cambodians. That is about the same proportion as blacks among basketball stars. Clearly, neither of these disparities is due to discrimination against whites. Nor are such disparities new or peculiar to the United States. In medieval Europe, most of the inhabitants of the towns in Poland and Hungary were neither Poles nor Hungarians. In 19th century Bombay, most of the shipbuilders were Parsis, a minority in Bombay, and less than 1% of the population of India. In 20th century Australia, most of the fishermen in the port of Fremantle came from 2 villages in Italy. In southern Brazil, whole industries were owned by people of German ancestry, and such crops as tomatoes and tea have been grown predominantly by people of Japanese ancestry. Page after page, if not book after book, could be filled with similar statistical disparities from around the world and down through history. Why are such disparities so common? Because all kinds of work require particular skills, particular experience, particular locations, and particular orientations, and none of these things is randomly distributed. Local demagogues who thunder against the fact that Koreans run so many stores in black ghettos merely betray their ignorance when they act as if this were something strange or unusual. For most of the merchants in an area to be of a different race or ethnicity from their customers has been common for centuries in Southeast Asia, Eastern Europe, West Africa, the Caribbean, Fiji, the Ottoman Empire, and numerous other places. When German and Jewish merchants moved into Eastern Europe in the Middle Ages, they brought with them much more experience in that occupation than that possessed by local Eastern European merchants, who were often wiped out by the new competition. Even when the competition takes place between people who are racially and ethnically identical, all kinds of historical, geographical, and other circumstances can make one set of these people far more effective in some activities than the others. Some disparities, of course, have their roots in discrimination, but the fatal mistake is to infer discrimination whenever the statistical disparities exceed what can be accounted for by random chance. Human beings are not random. They have very pronounced and complex cultural patterns. These patterns are not unchanging, but changing them for the better requires first acknowledging that human capital is crucial to economic advancement. Those who make careers out of attributing disparities to the wickedness of other people are an obstacle to the development of more human capital among the poor. There was a time, as late as the mid-19th century, when Japan lagged far behind the Western industrial nations because it was lacking in the kind of human capital needed in a modern economy. Importing Western technology was not enough, for the Japanese lacked the knowledge and experience required to operate it effectively. Japanese workmen damaged or ruined machinery when they tried to use it. What saved the Japanese was that they recognized their own backwardness and worked for generations to overcome it. They did not have cultural relativists to tell them that all cultures are equally valid, or political activists to tell them that their troubles were all somebody else's fault, nor were there guilt-ridden outsiders offering them largesse. Affirmative action has been one of the great distractions from the real task of self-development. When it and the mindset that it represents passes from the scene, poorer minorities can become the biggest beneficiaries if their attention and efforts turn toward improving themselves. Unfortunately, a whole industry of politicians and miscellaneous hustlers has every vested interest in promoting victimhood, resentment, and paranoia instead.
You really needed to listen attentively to see where I was going with that. All these people out there who continue to stoke hate and stoke prejudices. It's not anybody trying to take anybody's job or anybody trying to take anybody's land. It's people coming in and doing what they do very well. Many of the people who complain about it are really not going to do anything about it, even if the people doing it do not do it, because it's not their style, because they haven't been given the skills they need to be able to go out and think the way they need to think, to have the incentive to build those kind of businesses, buy those kind of properties, and do big things with those kind of properties. But just before what I'm saying is misread, the reality is that there is a population in Lagos and a population among the Fulanis who are progressive in their thinking, who have all the skills that are needed to do these things that the skillless people are complaining about. That population is not having any phobia about which ethnic group is buying property or which ethnic group is. They don't care because they are qualified to compete. The problem is that the leaders who stoke this venom are not qualified to lead. The only way they can lead is to stoke venom, bump heads together, and force their way into office or steal their way into office. Nigerians are bigger than this now. Yorubas are bigger than this. Igbos are bigger than this. Progressive Fulanis are bigger than this. But my question now is, if we're bigger than this, why are we not structurally working collaboratively to ensure that these divide and conquer agents no longer have a place in our society? Now, the next video I'm going to show you nails everything I've been talking about here and what I was talking about in my last video. I want you to listen to it. It's the way that I think Nigerians should see Nigerians and the way that news about Nigeria should be reported. Just listen and pay attention to how no tribe was mentioned in the discussion of a major project. Still, everybody is excited about it. Just listen.
Power outage and blackout. 26-year-old Emeka Nelson may have found light at the end of the tunnel. Motivated by the death of his friend caused by generator fume poisoning, Emeka decided to produce a generator that runs on water. Is this mission impossible? Let's find out.
Welcome to Anambra in southeast Nigeria. I am in Awka, the state capital, to tell the story of a young man whose invention could attract global attention. Nelson is not a certified engineer, has no university education, yet he dreams of making positive worldwide impact. This may look like a scrapyard, but it is Nelson's comfort zone where he thinks out of the box. Structural drawings and designs are clipped to the wall, and like a religion, Nelson's devotion is wholehearted. For 16 consecutive years, he has committed himself to making his dream turn to reality. He wanted to make a generator that runs on water.
During my JS3, that was the first ever one that was able to give me AC volt, which is 220 volt.
Most of the materials for making his generator were sourced from junkyards. His first prototype exploded when it was tested. This cast a shadow of doubt on his project.
People never believed it's possible.
After years of toil, he earned his eureka moment. One night in his laboratory, he says, he got his design right and his generator finally worked. Talk me through what you have here.
Okay, first of all, this is just the control panel.
Okay.
This is our output. Whatever the generator brings out, we receive it from here.
Okay.
Then this is just the casing covering the whole stuff.
That's a gas cylinder.
It's a gas cylinder that I turned into, most, even the turbine, everything is inside here.
Turbine is in there.
It's in here.
Great.
Then here we have the water. This replaces the water tank. Then we have a pump. The water just goes into this machine through here and through here.
Okay.
Then it returns back
So the
through
turbine
here.
then turns the water in the tank.
Yeah, it comes back through here.
Okay. So where does the energy come from? How do you generate the energy?
The energy actually comes from this battery. First of all, it's a starting point. I need to plug in this battery to the machine, connect it to the machine. Then I want to start it. It brings out another power that recharges the battery.
Nelson has just shown me what goes into his generator and now it works. Now I want to practically just try out if indeed this generator would work.
So this is our water here. Oh, this is a drinking water.
Nelson says his generator has maximum output capacity of 1000 watts and his voltage fluctuates between 220 and 240. He says a liter of clean water could power it for 6 hours. It has zero emissions and it is environment friendly.
Beyond just testing Nelson's generator in his laboratory, we have decided to come and see if it could potentially power an entire room, and that is what we're about to do now.
Nelson might just have developed an alternative to fossil engines which contribute to global warming.
What Nelson has been able to do is to use the normal water, inside a simple tank. Now using a DC generator to be able to pressurize the water enough to be able to drive that turbine. It drives the turbine at 860 RPM. So that for me is a big deal.
Nelson has brought out this project using the principle of magnetic induction by Faraday. Faraday actually states that an electricity, or what we call an electromagnetic force, is induced when a coil is made to pass through changing magnetic field.
For 6 hours, the generator would power different household appliances that fall within its 1,000 watts capacity. After this comes its downtime.
It is not about structural defect or maybe a kind of error in the concept. So it might be because of the nature of the components, which of course can be improved upon.
What we have seen in this project has no danger as of now. No gas emission, like our regular carbon monoxide that will come out from our Pass My Neighbor 1 kVA generator.
In 2018, his mini hydropower project won him a second place in the Anambra State Talent Exhibition program.
We agree that it's really an innovation and it's something we must have to take up and not just let it die.
Nelson might have just started a journey to providing solutions to problems limiting development across some African communities.
Nelson has produced a prototype of his hydropower generator. He said his dream is for the generator to be in millions of homes across the world. Right now, the prototype is undergoing tests and evaluation. Abayomi Adisa, Gist Nigeria.
Folks, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That report is what reporting should be about in Nigeria. It's irrelevant what tribe the person who is doing these things come from. What's important is that a Nigerian is doing it, and it's something that makes Nigerians feel proud. I am very proud of how that story was reported. I'm very proud of the young man. I wish that these billionaires and millionaires we have across the country will find it in their heart. I wish this video, not necessarily mine, but that report by Channels TV, I wish it will get to some of these bigwigs who hopefully will believe enough in this young man to invest in him. Investing in people brings return to the investor and to the person. Giving people crumbs for further opportunities. All these handouts don't do anything for our people. Thank you very much for watching. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is Fred Nwankwo coming to you from our studios in Chicago with another edition of Bold Talk on Island TV. And until next time, good night and God bless.
Ẹ wá wò Jáde láfíà jù. wá wò ta ní láfíà jù.
ẹ wá wò ta ní láfíà.
ẹ wá wò ta ní láfíà
ẹ
jù.
wá wò ta ní láfíà.
ẹ wá wò ta ní láfíà jù.
ẹ wá